Good morning. Well, actually, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, homeschool boss moms. How are you? Kara Mendez here. For those of you who are new or don't know me, I am the founder of this group, and I am also an intuitive business coach exclusively for homeschooling entrepreneurs. And I am the creator of the Back to Center 12-month program. So today we're talking about a big topic. Hey Gia, how are you? Thanks for joining. I have recently come to the realization that I experienced motherhood trauma. Hey Natalie, what's up? How are you? And I know that there are so many of you who have also experienced this. Maybe you've never even heard of this. It's not even like a thing. I'm making it a thing. So I was working with my coach the other day. I don't know if you can hear that. They're like stomping up above me. Oh my gosh, it sounds like elephants. Okay. Yeah, see, like traumatic. That's traumatic. Feeling like the ceiling is going to cave in on you. No, so you guys, for those of you who don't know, I have 5 children. Mind you, I actually never wanted to have 0 children. Like I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have children. Getting soap notes done, so getting some enlightenment from you. Yay! So whenever I was kind of thrust into my motherhood role, I did everything I could to be like the best mom. And I gave everything, like my all, right, to my children, as I know most of you do. And I overgave. And also there were things that were, there were other areas of our life that we were not fully supported. Like financially, we were struggling, marriage struggling, just working through like all the old, childhood wounds and things like that. That healing had not yet been done. Knowing who I was and what I wanted, no clue, right? So like really just operating from a foundation of quicksand, really is what it felt like. Definitely not having a solid foundation as I began my motherhood journey. And then what felt like very quickly or more, it was like a constant, like adding a new child. And, all of us know what going through, those early, the pregnancy, and I dealt with prenatal depression. I didn't even know that I had that. I just knew I was like miserable and hating life. And then, not having enough help, not taking enough downtime. I was running a business during this whole period. I was been homeschooling for the last 7 years, and things were just constantly so hard, so much struggle. I didn't have enough support at home or with the kids. Even my husband for many, many, many years was dealing with his own, off and on depression. Both of us were just in constant overwhelm, constantly sleep deprived. Holy shit, the sleep deprivation was like unreal. And I know so many of you can identify with this, and so many of you are actually like in this phase right now. I'm grateful to say that I am no longer in that survival mode, but we were in survival for so many years. And that shit became traumatic for me. Like the level of suffering and struggling that I experienced was like trauma. And this was just brought to my attention by, as I mentioned, by my coach who I'm working with right now, when we were talking in a session last week. And she identified it as, she's like, it almost feels like this is like a trauma. And I was like, oh my God, it totally is a fucking trauma. It feels like a fucking trauma. So I actually started Googling like motherhood trauma, and there is I did find one opinion article. Hey, what's up, babe? My husband just joined us. And there is one opinion piece that I found on the New York Times that talks about the trauma of parenthood. And that was really all I really found. I didn't do any heavy research, but this like needs to be a thing that gets talked about. So basically we get used to this like level of suffering, right? This level of struggle, and we just kind of like almost can get complacent in it and not even realize that it gets to be different if we want it to be different. Maybe we don't know how to make it different. We're just feel like we're constantly drowning, and so we know that there's this work that needs to be done in all these different various areas of our lives, but we don't know how to even like make any forward progress in any one area, because we feel like all of them have areas, and there's like kind of this constant chaos and maybe or drama, if you will, that's constantly needing us to like put out fires here and put out fires there, and really keeping us from, again, making any forward progress. So what I found for my own self was I just kind of started like overhauling certain components of my life. And now that I have done that, and I teach you guys how to do it in my Back to Center program, which, by the way, is still open for enrollment for anyone who wants to jump in. We just started. We're just on week 2. And so anybody can come and slide right in right now and get caught up with no problem at all. So if any of you are interested in that, definitely message me or comment below and I can get you some more details. But what happened is, now that I'm in this different place, right, where we're more financially secure, our marriage is solid, finally. I feel really so much more secure in what my gifts are, what my strengths are, and what I want out of life, and who I want to be, and how I want to show up, and how I want to feel every day, and all of these different things. And I'm just living so much more intentionally and mindfully. And I have this really solid foundation of practices, things that I know that keep me feeling healthy and strong mentally, emotionally, physically. And I'm willing to receive support, and I know my value and my worth and all of these different things, right? Like, so there's so many different things that were once all like just a total clusterfuck, and now like, oh, I got that down, I got that down, I got that down. Okay, there's still a few areas where I'm working on, like I still want to continue working on fitness and health, and things like that, and your mindset is just an ongoing, ever-going thing. You never finish that, but I do have a solid foundation of these things, right? These practices and things like this. So now that I've reached this different level, and I'm like, oh, well, life actually can get to feel easy, and like, oh, it can be fun, and it can be this, and it can be that, and it can be like all these like wonderful positive things, versus like, oh, you just have to like power through, and it's just how it is, and it just sucks, and you just like you do and it's it's like oh, you just don't get to sleep for a decade. Like, I literally did not get like a full like sleep for a decade, like literally. Like, that's not an exaggeration. So now if I don't get any sleep, I'm like, fuck that shit. I need a nap today. Where it was before, it was like, who has time for a nap? I can't take a nap. I've got shit to do. If I don't do it, no one's going to do it. And now it's like, oh, well, if it doesn't get done, well, somebody else will do it, or I'll just wait. Like, there's just this big perspective shift that happened. And what I found was, like, as I was going through this really hard part of my motherhood, like this really, really, really hard season of life, this really hard season of motherhood that created these traumas, right? And now that I'm in this different season, different phase of life, I'm like, I am not available for that anymore. Like, I can't do that. And there's, now I have like new triggers and new things that I have to heal and work on. Because it's like, where I used to be able to like give all of me, and then even if there wasn't any left, I would still keep giving. As far as when it came to like, you know, the kids getting all of their needs met, and even just like little things that maybe didn't even matter so much about, I've had to really take a step back and say, you know, like, why am I trying to like sacrifice my well-being, my emotional and my mental health, for, you know, kids to get a bath every day, or their hairs to be brushed, or, you know, to like make sure that they go from, you know, their day clothes to their pajamas and then back again every single day. Like, now it's just like, oh, you want to be in your underwear all day? Fine, whatever, I don't care. Like, oh, you didn't brush your hair today? Whatever, we'll do it sometime this week. You know, like, maybe some of you might be like, oh my God, that's so neglectful, but I have 5 kids and that's a lot of hair. And, you know, there was a time when everyone was so little that I was doing everything for everyone, you know, and it was so hard. It was so hard. It was so much work. They're a little older now and a little more sufficient. I still have young kids, like 2, 4, 6, 8, and 12. But there was a time when they were all a lot younger. Even if there was only 3 or 4 of them, but they were, you know, younger, not as self-sufficient. So it's definitely gotten easier. But how this pertains to like how it was holding my business back is like I was in this struggle for so long, and I couldn't even like, I was barely staying afloat, right? Like I was drowning. I couldn't propel a business forward. I did not have the energetic space. I did not have the bandwidth. I didn't have the physical energy, nothing. Like there was not enough. I was trying to do things. I was trying to do the things that I felt like might be the easiest to generate more money or what have you, right? But what really made a difference was learning to put myself first, you know? And now that I have learned to do that, there's no going back. Like there just isn't. It's like, oh, that feels hard. Okay, well, who can we hire to do that? You know, like I just don't have the availability for that level of suffering and struggle anymore. And it's almost to the point where it's even like, even if I even get left at home with my kids for a little short period of time right now, and they start to like get a little wild and crazy, I'm like texting my husband, the kids are doing this, the kids are doing that, da 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 da, they're driving me crazy, or blah, 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 they're fighting, or they're doing this. Because it's almost like, because it was a traumatic thing for me for so many years of living in the trenches like that, that now I'm like, oh, I don't even want to do it. Like, I don't even want to try. I know I can, but I don't want to, because I know how hard that is. And it's like, I don't want to suffer like that anymore. So, so how is this related to holding your business back? So there are these things that I learned, is like learning to receive support, you know, and I know some of you say, oh, it's a financial thing. And I get that. I've been in that place, but I know that there were helpful people who I could have leaned on and who I could have asked more of, and I didn't, because I really took this, like, I can just do it myself, you know? So just asking for what you need, right? Just like honoring your needs, and not just your needs, but beyond your needs, like honoring your desires, you know, and just knowing that anything is possible and available to you if you are willing to become the person who has the life that you want. And that's really like the biggest part of this that I've had to learn so much the hard way, and I just don't want that for you. Is it's not about the doing things, it's about like the being. Like, who do you need to be? Do you need to be a person who's willing to receive support in order to get the life that you want? Do you need to be a person who values your worth over your productivity and knows that you're worthy regardless of how productive you are each day? Do you need to be like the mom who knows that you're still a great mom even if you didn't do everything on your to-do list or cross off everything on the curriculum or meet everyone else's expectations of you? You know, like, do you know what your intrinsic worth is, right? Like, do you need to be that person who knows how worthy and deserving you are of amazingness, of pleasure, of feeling good? You know, like, who do you need to be? You know, you need to be more committed to your dreams. Do you need to be more committed to sharing your gifts with the world? Like, who do you need to be, right? Do you need to be more of a leader? You know, there is a lot of, I would say, collective mindset of we're more valued if we're working versus than if we're like the delegators giving the orders, you know, like saying like, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? Can you do this? You know, so do you need to be more of a leader? Who do you need to be? I would love to hear it in the comments from you. Even if you're catching this on the replay, I would love to know. All right. And so my hope and my wish for each and every one of you is that for any of you who are struggling through motherhood or who have struggled through motherhood, that you can find your way back to you and back to your center. And I would love to support you in doing that if you feel called. We are working on the first module of Back to Center right now. We're in clarity. We're talking about core values, core feelings. We're going to work on our prophecy letters this month. So if you're feeling called to join us, then let's do it. Message me or comment below. All right. Talk to you ladies soon. Bye.